Hello and welcome to the American Sim Racing Championship. This is the VSPEED Challenge tonight here with the Renegade 100 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Drivers here for round number 4 of the championship series, looking to take home a victory at the Coliseum. It's been some good racing throughout the season so far, and currently your points leader coming into tonight's event is Jamie Christensen, and he's sitting 8th on the boards right now in that number 9 Supra late model. Second place coming into the points tonight, Josh Bonwell, currently 4th on the board here at Bristol. Third place in the points is AJ Hamill. He's sitting on pit road right now in that number 18 Toyota Supra late model. Stephen Parks currently sitting 4th in points. He's 10th on the board, putting some laps down right now. And rounding out the top 5 in points is Steph Marinak, who won at USA in round number 3, and he is not here tonight by the looks of it. So right now, fastest on the board, Dustin Momberquet with 14.471. Chris Stump also running a 14.471, but must have just been a touch slower. Chris Simard with a 14.492. So those three look like they have the speed here tonight so far in this practice session. So we'll see what happens as the event goes on. And qualifying will be inverted from the finishing order of last week's race. So something that's a little bit different here in the American Sim Racing Championship. They don't do qualifying, they actually just set the starting grid by the previous week's finishing lineup, but inverted, and then anyone else making their first start in the series is randomly placed after that. Weather here tonight, 82-degree air temperature and 84-degree track temperature, so not too hot, but not too cool either, so we may see some of these drivers start to lose grip. And throughout the season so far, we've seen drivers struggling with a tight condition on entry and loose on exit, so we'll see if that continues here tonight. And we want to give a shout out to our sponsors before we get this thing going here tonight. Renegade Coffee Bar bringing you tonight's race. They are the sponsor for this event. It is a great pre-workout replacement bar, so rather than that kind of crazy sugary powder that you make shakes with, it's just a small bite-sized bar made of fair trade Colombian coffee beans, beta-alanine, sugar, and a handful of other natural ingredients. It is vegan and gluten-free, and you can save 20% on your purchase of a Renegade Coffee Bar or Renegade Coffee Bar products. You head to renegadecoffeebar.com and use the code Renegade20. That will save you 20% on the purchase. And it looks like these drivers are headed to the grid now. See where everyone is starting up in tonight's race. Go by what it says on the timing and scoring here. It looks like this is correct. Austin Thiel will be starting on the pole here tonight. Second place rolling off is going to be Dustin Momberquet in that number 6 car. So those two on the front row after finishing pretty far back in the last race. Justin Huber going to be rolling off in 3rd place with Stephen Parks on his outside in 4th. Stephen Page rolling off in 5th with Chris Simard starting in 6th position. Andy Lambert going to be rolling off in 7th with Josh Bonwell on the outside in 8th. 9th place, Jamie Christensen, your points leader coming into tonight's race. And Chris Stump, week 1 winner, rolling off in 10th position. AJ Hamill will round out the field here tonight as he was the highest finisher in last week's event, or 2 weeks ago now. So field making their way around under the pace laps here tonight. Oh, and we got contact already. The 15, the 009, and looks like the 1 of Stephen Page all making a bit of contact. But the cars are okay. I don't see any damage really on those race cars, but interesting contact already. And Bristol is a high-banked half-mile short track. They call it the Coliseum because it is known for beating and banging and some great side-by-side racing. The groove generally has been around the bottom until they repaved it, and It is now around the top. In NASCAR in real life, they'll put down some sticky substance on the inside line, which allows that line to be competitive against the high line, but we'll see what is the better line here tonight as the racing action is about to begin. The 009 of Austin Thiel going to be the one to get him going. Pace car pulls into pit lane, and we are underway. 09 in the 6, get a great jump on that green flag, and we are headed down into turns 1 and 2. The 09, 009 able to clear the 6, and he will take over the lead. Bring up our ticker here so you can follow along with your favorite driver. Stephen Parks able to jump up into 3rd place after starting in 4th position, so good start there for the number 42 of Parks. Justin Huber currently in 4th position. He does have some damage on the nose of that car. I didn't see it, but he did make contact during the pace laps. Chris Samard working on that high line, currently up into 5th position, battling against Josh Bonwell, your 2nd place points runner at the start of this race. And it's a little ways back to Stephen Page behind those two. Chris Stump following in his tracks. AJ Hamill running a little bit lower line back in 9th place. Andy Lambert's in 10th, and Jamie Christensen back into 11th position. Thought I heard some contact there, possibly. Stephen Page now dropping back into the clutches of Chris Stump. Let's see if we can get a bigger camera angle here. You can see the battle starting to heat up between these two. The 98 really closing in quickly on the number 1 of Stephen Page, and it looks like he's going to look to the inside, but not able to make the move just yet. Rides back up in that high line and cuts it down mid-corner, and that's allowed AJ Hamill to close in as well. So about to have a 4-way battle for the 7th through 10th positions. Meanwhile, Austin Thiel able to stretch his lead out now to 0.8 of a second. Doing a great job here so far in this event. He's led every lap coming across the start-finish line there. We are on lap number 8 already. Dustin Momberquet not able to keep up with the pace of the 009, but has not fallen yet into the clutches of Stephen Parks, who's running pretty consistently up here towards the high line. Josh Bonwell able to clear Chris Samard and is now up into 4th position. And trying to chase down Stephen Parks, these two teammates. Turn 4 racing, so it'll be interesting to see how they race against each other, as it's going to get more and more difficult to pass as the run goes on, and they won't be able to take tires here. It's one of the rules. No tires in the American Sim Racing Championship. You got to run what you started with, and that can help some drivers and hurt others. Maybe those who are better on the short run. Not quite as much. It looks like Justin Huber making contact with that outside wall. He makes contact again down the back straightaway, but he is losing ground now back to 7th position. It's allowed AJ Hamill and Stephen Page to start to close in on him now, and that damage really going to affect him on corner entry and exit, as Hamill looking to find a way around the 15. 15 through a couple blocks there. Hamill able to make the pass on the inside line. 15 getting a little bit loose off the turn. Meanwhile, Dustin Momberquet able to close the gap a little bit, now down a couple tenths from where it was before. We'll see if he was just saving or if he can reel in the 009. But the battle is starting to heat up for 3rd position. Parks has it, Bonwell wants it, and Chris Samard waiting for something to happen between those two, as he has closed back in. So 3rd through 5th kind of gathered up here. Chris Stump able to get away from 7th place AJ Hamill, who's now cleared Stephen Page. And Justin Huber has taken it behind the wall, so early retirement from the number 15 driver. And that's going to result in an 11th place finish for him here tonight. I believe they do have one fast repair in this series as well, which will help if they get into any kind of trouble here during the event. But Austin Thiel doesn't look like he's going to be in any trouble, as he is 7/10 out in front. Currently last on the lead lap is Jamie Christensen, your points leader, who somehow finds his way up into the top 5 every single week. So we'll see if he can make his way forward here, as we're only about 1/5 of the way through the race. Not really any battles going on except for this one up here. Stephen Parks losing the position to Josh Bonwell and Chris Samard. So Bonwell and Samard moving their way forward, only a couple seconds back from the leader right now. And we'll see if they can close that gap up anymore. Fastest car on the track last time by was your leader, Austin Thiel. But we'll see if, now that Bonwell and Smart have clean air, that if they can close in at all. And does not look like that gap is shrinking just yet. They are a little bit faster than the top two, but just about half a tenth a lap, which is going to take a while for them to get up there at that pace. So Austin Thiel looking like he's in pretty good shape here, a fifth of the way through the event. Smart really putting pressure on that 56, but it doesn't look like he's trying to make the pass at the moment, maybe just trying to make his way forward, as they are starting to close in over a tenth faster than your leader and second place last time. This time, Bonwell about the same lap time. Chris Samard still faster though, about a tenth faster than your leader. Chris Stump was the fastest on track, currently running 14.96, which is the only car inside the 15-second bracket. But that time by, he mirrors Chris Samard's time of 15.132. Looks like Steve Park's in trouble. We didn't see what happened. Maybe he already made a pit stop. He did not. He's got heavy right side damage. That car looks like it is crab walking slightly. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. Oh, he went around actually. So coming out of, it looks like turn number 4, catches the wall, slides down on the apron, tags the inside wall with the back bumper, but not in the racing groove. So caution does not fly as he pulls it back out on track and is currently one lap down, hoping for a caution at some point here. Dustin Momberquet starting to close the gap now to the leader, as well as Josh Bonwell and Chris Samard. Those two, you can see they're in the same shot sometimes now as second place, and maybe even first place if we can get a wide enough angle here. You can see they're all on the same straightaway. Samard and Bonwell working together to move forward. Samard running a slightly higher line, which will probably help the tires a little. Bonwell running lower entry and drifting up and then cutting back down, so that could heat up the tires, and we'll see if he has anything as this run continues. The Austin Thiel looks like he has maybe burned up the stuff just a little bit. Momberquet now within half a second of the 009. Looks like he is struggling with rear end grip though, and Bonwell really closing in now, about a second the gap from the leader to third place. Chris Stump now on the same straightaway as these two, so he is closing in quickly as well. He was 3/10 faster than your leader last time by, so he's really making up ground, running about the same times as Chris Samard. As Samard goes to the inside of Bonwell, looking to make a pass, but not able to pull it off in that set of turns. Go now through 3 and 4, and Bonwell able to hold on to the position, fending off Chris Samard for the moment. The more they battle, the less time they're going to gain on the top two. But Momberquet now within 0.2 of a second catches the wall, trying to put pressure on the 009. Doesn't look like much damage on the 6, just a little crinkle in that right side. But he is really pushing it. You can see the back end start to step out as he is losing it. The 009 also loose on exit. Those two racing for everything they've got right now. We're only a third of the way through the race. The 009 wiggling as he exits the turn, just barely hanging on to this lead. The 6 car of Momberquet trying to get by. He's on the outside now, going down into turn number 3, drifts up, almost tags the wall. But the 009 trying to fight him on the inside, not able to keep him behind. And new leader here, Dustin Momberquet, able to take over. Austin Thiel maybe burning up those rear tires and some right side damage. Maybe gonna hurt him as this run continues. Samard was able to complete the pass on Bonwell, who has heavy right side damage, so possibly got into the wall, allowing Samard to get past. Meanwhile, Chris Stump also in the picture now. So the week 1 winner, and really fast the last time at USA Speedway. He's been a front runner in the races that he has attended here so far this season. So he's working on the inside now of Josh Bonwell down in turn 3. Dives it in there on the inside line, almost able to clear him, but not quite. 56 of Bonwell fights back on the outside as they come across the start-finish line. Now on lap 39, or 38 out of 100. So this race is flying by. Chris Stump able to clear Bonwell, and Chris Samard now working on the back bumper of the 009. And Austin Thiel started on the pole here tonight. Samard has saved his tires a little bit better. The 009 has burned them up pretty badly, and the 6 of Momberquet has gotten away by 3/4 of a second. Chris Samard trying to get underneath, but the 009 not giving him any room, and that's going to be a tough way to pass somebody. They don't give you any room down there. Chris Stump loving what he's seeing in front of him as he is closing in on everyone that is in his windshield. 77 of Samard trying to make it happen here, goes to the high line, trying to get that momentum out of the turn. It's the 6 of Momberquet maybe having an issue there. The car is still pretty clean, just a little crinkle in the right side, but he has lost some ground significantly to Austin Thiel. As these drivers work off at turn number 2, Samard wiggles. Here comes Chris Stump now, trying to peek down to the inside, not close enough to make anything happen, but he is right there now. Austin Thiel able to close back in on Momberquet, maybe cool the tires a little, and going back for the lead. He gets loose just as I say that. As they work down into turn number 3, getting closer and closer to halfway. I thought I heard some contact somewhere, but I do not see anyone in trouble. Jamie Christensen still out here in 9th position, about a half lap down at the moment, but just trying to cruise and keep the car clean for when it matters, as the battle for the lead is raging on. Top 3 all separated by less than 0.3 of a second, as the 6 of Momberquet tags the wall in turn number 2. Here comes Chris Samard right on the back bumper of Austin Thiel. Chris Stump a few tenths back, but maybe just trying to mind his distance, as Samard gets a huge run out of turn 4, peeks down to the inside of Austin Thiel and almost able to clear him, and it's going to be tough down there to get back on the throttle, but he's doing a good job. The 009 doesn't give him any room as he tries to shut the door, but Samard just had the nose in there. Here comes the 009, going to try and pull the same move, but it doesn't look like it's going to work, as the 77 of Samard able to get a good run on the high line, able to clear the 009 as he dives in on the low line. But you can see that car is hurt as he tags the wall once again. Here comes Stump to the inside line, and Austin Thiel not giving him any room. They make contact, the 009 up into the wall, and he slams on the brakes, and that's going to bring out caution number 1. Oh, as he gets tagged by Andy Lambert. Jamie Christensen just sneaking past, but does catch the wall. And it looks like Austin Thiel unhappy with the racing there and wanted to bring out the caution, so he ended up parking it out of turn 4, and we saw everything that happened there. No need for the replay, but Chris Samard inherits the lead. After all that action, we are halfway through the race now, and we'll see who comes down pit road and what kind of strategies are played. And we'll see who takes their fast repair at this point in the race. So to recap, we've had the 1 caution now and 2 lead changes. But really intense battling up at the front of the field. And the 009 pulls into his pit box, gets the fast repair done, and the 77 of Chris Samard able to win the race off pit road. Chris Stump coming out 2nd, AJ Hamill 3rd, Stephen Parks showing in 4th. He just got his lap back, so he's going to have to take it down pit road here and probably use the fast repair on that number 42 Victor Ford super late model. Austin Thiel back out on track now with a clean race car. Momberquet looks like he used his fast repair as well, and Josh Bonwell also possibly using his, or maybe just getting the damage fixed. He still has some right side damage, so we'll see if he still has that later in the race if anything happens. But meanwhile, Chris Samard is your leader. Started in 6th here tonight. He's led 3 laps after inheriting the lead. Chris Stump started in 10th. He's up to 2nd position, so a good run so far by that number 98. And we have seen him charge his way through the pack a couple times this season. AJ Hamill started back in 11th. He's also made his way forward up into 3rd position. Stephen Page running about where he started, just 1 position up right now. Andy Lambert up a couple spots. Austin Thiel losing some ground during that set of incidents that happened. Dustin Momberquet currently back in 7th after starting in 2nd. You saw him get into a little bit of trouble with the outside wall a couple times. Josh Bonwell currently running where he started. Stephen Parks back in 9th after starting up in 4th. And Jamie Christensen currently being shown as 10th. You're starting in 9th. That's actually going to swap here, I think. Actually, Christensen showing as 1 lap down, so not sure what happened there. Maybe just a little bit of confusion through the pit cycle, and he has lost a lap. Looks like the pace car lights are off. And before we get going green again, just want to give a big shout out to the sponsor of tonight's race, Renegade Coffee Bar. You can save 20% on your purchase of Renegade Coffee Bar pre-workout bite-sized bars at renegadecoffeebar.com. Use the code Renegade20. You save that 20%. A big shout out to Renegade for sponsoring tonight's race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Been an exciting race so far, even with the smaller field. A lot of really intense battling at the front of the pack. So we look forward to seeing how the second half of the race goes. Chris Samard gets him going here. Green flag is back out. We are underway once again here at the Coliseum. Samard with a big jump over Chris Stump, but those two have made their way forward, as well as AJ Hamill. And remember, they didn't take any tires, so whatever grip issues they were having before, they're going to continue to have, especially with the added load of all the fuel in the fuel tank in the back. Austin Thiel trying to make his way forward. Oh, the 6 gets into Josh Bonwell. Those two going down into turn number 3 now. A little bit of contact between there. The 6 still struggling for grip. You can see him sliding on the exit of 4 as he loses that position. Chris Samard still out in front, 4/10 the gap to Chris Stump in 2nd position. It's the Chris and Chris show right now at the front. AJ Hamill trying to say something about that, though, as he is in 3rd position after starting shotgun on the field here tonight. Stephen Page, oh, we see contact between Austin Thiel and the 70 of Andy Lambert. So Thiel getting shuffled back a couple positions through that exchange. The 56 of Josh Bonwell trying to peek underneath Lambert now. Here comes Thiel to the outside, trying to make a position back up. He gets very close to Bonwell, not giving him much room as he tags the wall, gets into Bonwell, tags the wall again. Really loose going down into turn 1, but able to hang on to it. So Thiel struggling here in the second half of the race, and he looks to be like he is out of contention. As Bonwell making contact with the wall there. And that's going to allow Thiel to close back in. So this battle for 6th and 7th is still raging on. Meanwhile, Andy Lambert has gotten away. Stephen Page trying to chase down Hamill. And Hamill trying to chase down the front 2, who are only separated by a couple tenths of a second now, as we are 61 laps into the race. And if you are tuned in here on VSPEED on Twitch or YouTube, please comment down below and show support for your favorite driver, as we're about a third of the race away from completion. Try and make a prediction for who you think is going to win tonight's race. And we will try and follow along with them as much as we can here, as we are closing in on 35 to go. Bonwell trying to put pressure now on Andy Lambert. Looks like Stephen Page still stretching out in front. Lambert actually making the pass on Josh Bonwell. Austin Thiel has lost touch with those two. Stephen Parks right now battling with Jamie Christensen, and Christensen is 1 lap down. He's your points leader coming into this event. So let's see what the gap was. Just 4 points to 2nd place Josh Bonwell, and right now I think Bonwell would actually not make up enough points to take the points lead, but it would be very close. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, Chris Samard starting to lose a little bit of ground to Chris Stump, but Stump tags the wall in turn number 2, and that slows him up just a little bit, but able to keep up the speed for the most part. You can see how hard he sends it into the corner. But how is that going to affect him as we close in on the latter stages of this race? AJ Hamill now running a slightly lower line. You can see him wiggle coming out of the corner, but he is making his way forward as well. Chris Samard just trying to hold on to this position. You can see his struggle with the rear end of the car as well. but he has a pretty clean race car at the moment. Stump working that inside line as Samard tags the wall. And they're going to be side by side right now. See if Samard can fight Stump off down on that inside line. Chris Stump really doing a great job. You can see him get loose, but Samard tags the wall even harder than the time before. See if Stump can pull off the slide job here. It looks like he does not have the momentum, but the battle is getting closer and closer for that lead position. But you can see the power slide coming out of the corner. Stephen Parks in the wall. And that brings out caution number 2 with 30 laps to go. But let's go take a look and see what happened. And I believe it involved the 42 and the 009. Let's go to the nose cam here. We'll hide the tickers so we can get a good view of this. 009 tags the wall, comes down into Stephen Parks, who just clips him, and it sends the car around. Yeah, the 009, after struggling so much here in the second half of the race, just adds to the damage on his race car and takes the 42 along with him. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, it was a very close battle, and I think Samard held on to the lead. And Christensen able to get his lap back now. Stephen Parks 1 lap down. And he's also got damage on that race car. And he's going to be hoping for another caution here in the final stages of tonight's event. Closing in on the last 25% of the race here. And we appreciate you for tuning in here on VSPEED. We are a broadcasting company, but we also produce and sell iFlags and various other sim racing peripherals. You can learn more at our website, vspeedsim.com, or head over to Facebook, where we make some announcements for races that we are broadcasting, as well as products that we're releasing. That's facebook.com/vspeedsim. And of course, if you're watching here on YouTube, it's VSPEED Broadcasting, and we are also live on Twitch at VSpeedSim. So we appreciate you tuning in here tonight. And we have a special promo for anyone watching tonight's event. You can use code VSPEEDLAUNCH to save $5 on your purchase of $10 or more from vspeedsim.com. And we've got some great options there. One of the options that we are actually supplying to the American Sim Racing Championship, to the champion of the series, is a trophy iFlag. So it's a custom designed iFlag with a stand engraved with the driver's name, the series, the type of car, and that'll be pretty cool for the winner of this season's champion, as we are the title sponsor here for the VSPEED Challenge, the American Sim Racing Championship. But they also have a few other series, so if you're interested, you can contact Stephen Parks on iRacing, or potentially on Facebook, the American Sim Racing Championship page, and learn more about the league there, as pace car lights are off. Chris Samard going to be the leader, but was under heavy fire from Chris Stump before the caution came out. We'll see if he can hold him off here for the last 25 laps when we take the green flag. Both cars with a little bit of right side damage from contact with other race cars and that outside wall. It's been hard to avoid for a lot of these drivers. It'll be the Chris and Chris show on the front row. Samard gets him going. Here comes Stump, though, with a decent restart. AJ Hamill able to get the nose underneath. We'll see if he can carry that momentum down low and actually try and make a run for the second position. Looks like drivers are already loose. The one of Stephen Page putting a lot of pressure on AJ Hamill. Yeah, I thought I heard somebody go around farther back. Possibly Stephen Parks. He's got more damage on that car. And he goes 2 laps down now, but Chris Samard out in front, Chris Stump in second. This battle not going to be over anytime soon, as we're going to be coming to 20 to go here in just a couple laps. And Chris Simard, so successful in the Somo Racing League, and also common frontrunner in the Top Fuel Racing League, as well as Podium Esports, looking for his first victory here in only his second start at the American Sim Racing Championship. Chris Stump looking for his second victory on the season, and looks like he will not be denied, as he is chasing ferociously after that number 77. And AJ Hamel looking for his first win of the season as well, but not able to keep up with the pace of those front two at the moment. We'll see what happens as these laps wind down. Stephen Page also in the running here. He's doing a much better job now keeping up towards the front as he tags the wall. Must be a commentator's curse here tonight. Every time I talk about somebody, they hit the wall. But Josh Bonwell currently rounding out the top 5. Jamie Christensen, after his issues earlier, going a lap down up into 7th position, as we're down to 8 cars on track, only 7 on the lead lap. So Christensen is last on the lead lap, but still in a pretty good position to maintain that points lead. And you can see just how close those two are to the outside wall up at the front of the field. It's inches between the right side of those race cars and the left side of that outside wall, as Chris Stump really sending it in there. Sparks flying off that race car. He tags the wall out of 2. That allows AJ Hamel to close in just a couple car lengths, but it's still about 6 or so car lengths between those two. Simard doing a great job, but here comes Stump now to the inside line. This is where he was so successful before that caution flew, and we'll see if he can close in, or Simard's going to have to try and take that line away somehow. But the 98 is closing back in, running about a half tenth to a tenth faster that time by. But it is hard to keep the tires underneath the car when you run down that low, and getting back on the throttle coming out of the turn can be tricky. But Stump doing a great job so far, just a little bit slower than Simard that time by. So Simard running consistently, but Stump trying to make up ground, and AJ Hamel is now closing in a couple car lengths as well. Here goes Stump back to the outside line. You can see how sideways he is, losing a lot of ground that time by to Chris Simard, over a tenth slower that lap. So Simard running very consistently. Stump all over the place coming out of turn 2, but holds on to it. And you can see how hard he's driving. He's really not too far behind Simard, so trying to push that car for everything that it is worth. Let's take a look from his nose cam to see the distance. Try and keep an eye on this battle. You can hear all that grip from the tires as they make their way through the corner, but Stump not able to close in enough, as we're going to be coming to 10 to go next time by. The 98 able to close in just a bit that time. He's working a little bit lower than Chris Simard, and Simard hanging the tail of that number 77 now. But the gap has closed back up, 0.2 of a second between Simard and Stump. Chris Simard trying to hold on to this lead. He's led quite a few laps here, the whole second half of the race, really. And Chris Stump losing a bit of ground there that time by. But AJ Hamel running just as fast as those top 2, and we'll see if he is able to find a little bit more speed in the last handful of laps. But Chris Stump all sideways and out of shape there coming out of turn 4. That allows Hamel to get right up to his back bumper. And AJ Hamel now working that inside line, and Stump really struggling up high. He's burned the tires up on that number 98 McDonald's machine. And AJ Hamel takes over second position where he finished last week. But Chris Simard has stretched out now to a nearly 1 second lead, or 0.7 of a second over AJ Hamel. We'll see if Hamel close in, as we're going to be coming to 6 to go this time by. AJ Hamel just a little bit faster that time, but it's not going to be enough at that pace. He's going to need to find about a tenth or so more per lap to close in, or Chris Simard's going to have to make a mistake. He did hit the wall. You can see the damage on the right front. But we're now at 5 laps to go, and these laps will go by quickly at 15 seconds apiece. Hamel just a little bit faster once again, only a 1/4 of a tenth though. It's not going to be enough. As long as Simard doesn't make any big mistakes and he runs those consistent laps that we've seen, he will hang on to this. But Hamel is closing. It's just not going to be enough, I don't think. Chris Stump also picking up the pace once again. Gap now down to about half a second. Samard losing ground. That was about a tenth of a second. 3 to go now. We coming to 2 to go this time by. AJ Hamill working about a lane lower than the other two in the top 3, but that cost him some time there out of turn number 4. But he has closed it now under half a second. Stump all over. Right behind him. Got really sideways, able to hang on to it. Chris Samard trying to win this one as we're coming to the white flag. AJ Hamill about 4/10 of a second back. What's he going to do here to try and make that up? I think it's impossible, but he may dive it really hard as Samard gets loose. But AJ Hamill really going to have to send it here, and Samard's going to have to make a big mistake, and Samard does not. Chris Samard wins the Renegade 100 from Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Chris. Really great run there, leading 53 laps, basically the entire second half of the race. After both Austin Thiel and Dustin Momberquet got into trouble, Samard worked his way up from 6th position to take the win here tonight. So great job there for Chris Samard. We're going to cut quickly to a commercial break, and we will be back with interviews for your top 3 finishers here tonight. All right, and we are back. We've brought our winner, Chris Samard, up into the booth. Chris, you got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Well, Chris, you took the lead there at the halfway point in this race after chasing down Austin Thiel and Dustin Momberquet, and you were able to hold on to it. It looked like it was a hard charging Chris Stump who was coming up behind you, maybe trying to steal this one away. How did you hold on to it?
Probably sheer luck, I guess. It was just the car was fast, but it was out of control. I was hitting the wall a couple times, and just you couldn't get consistent enough to run lap after lap after lap really good.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of drivers get into that outside wall, and it almost looked like Darlington out there with everybody getting a stripe at some point. during the race, but you were able to keep the car relatively clean, at least compared to most of the other drivers out there, and hold on for the win.
Yeah, it was fun keeping Chris and AJ behind me and a few others. Um, it makes it fun when they're fast behind you, trying to keep them behind. So, but you couldn't really keep it off the wall tonight. It was a handful. It was kind of loose in, kind of push it off, and sometimes it would push more than others, and it just it was fun to drive though. So.
Yeah, that's usually the case when the car kind of handles badly. It makes it more interesting, and the racing is very exciting as it was for you three up at the front of the field. But we saw the inside line start to work for Chris Stump and AJ Hamill, and they would close in on you every so often. Did you ever consider going down there to try and slow them up, or were you content to run that high line?
I was really content to run the high line. I mean, if I saw big gains on the low side, I might have went down there. But I know if I could keep it wide open off the corner on up high, I could keep them on the inside, and they couldn't pass me on the bottom. So um,
Yeah, that was definitely the case. It Chris Stump made a hard charge there before that one caution came out with about 30 to go, and after that he was not able to really get back up to you. We did see Hamill take over that position late in the running, so it looked like maybe the 98 had burned his stuff up. But you had run consistently and were able to keep him behind. So congratulations on that win there and being able to do that. But we're headed to the Bull Ring next week. What are your thoughts on going out there?
the last time I ran there, it wasn't very good. So I'm not really having any high hopes. So, and especially the way they had the walls painted, it kind of throws you off when you're running 20 laps.
Yeah, it definitely makes you dizzy with the candy cane wall as it is there, but it should be an exciting race. Maybe some beating and banging, uh, like we've seen a couple times so far this season at such a short track. Exciting to see how you run out there.
Yeah, I expect it to be some beating and banging tight corners, and um, if you don't have a good view, it's tough getting in the corner.
Yeah, I remember running over there. We ran in the Podium Esports, and it is just hard to see around the track. You get to a certain point, and your visibility is very limited by the A pillar and just the way you're sitting in the seat. So it should be fun in these super late models, which I think even have a tighter window of visibility. So see what happens.
Yeah, 10-4. I'm gonna have to start last and make my way up through. There's a lot of tough competition. Uh, there's a lot of guys that are pretty much equal out there, so I'm not expecting too much for next week, but I'll try my.
Well, you win here in your second start, I believe, in the American Sim Racing Challenge. So that's a huge feat, and congratulations once again. Want to give any shout outs to anyone before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to Renegade Coffee Bar for sponsoring this race tonight. My wife and son, um, Stephen Parks, who puts on a great show each week. You up in the booth, Adam? You do some great broadcasting, and I think.
All right, Chris. Well, congratulations once again on taking the win here tonight after starting in sixth, leading 53 laps. Go celebrate, and we will catch up with you later.
All right, Adam. Have a good night, man.
Thank you. So that was our winner here tonight, Chris Samard. After starting in sixth, takes the win. We're going to go to our second place finisher now. That's going to be AJ Hamill. This is Adam up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, AJ, you kind of stole that position away from Chris there in the late going, and it looked like you might have had something for Chris if you had about 10 more laps. Um, did you think you were going to be able to close in on him, or did you think it was too late at that point?
Man, that whole last 50 laps, I was just hanging on and concentrating my hardest on keeping the car on the track and not on the inside wall. And I could see they were having a similar issue, so I thought, all right, I'll just some of these cars blow up for no reason. Um, I was just trying to keep her straight, keep the tires on her, see what happened. And Chris kind of overheated his tires trying to get the lead, and he had to yield the spot. and I saw I was closing a little. Which Chris with a K, and
Yep.
other Chris, he was coming back a little bit, but I think I probably needed a big mistake out of him or 25 laps to get by him. He's a professional. You've raced with him before. I've raced with him before. No
Yep.
shame coming in behind him.
Yep, definitely strong run for Smart up in front, but you came all the way from last place on the grid to finish second there, and it seems like track position is just so huge in these super late models, as the speeds are all so close. But we saw you working about half a lane lower than a lot of the other drivers out there. And what were you kind of finding down there that was working differently than that high line?
What I found was I couldn't run the high line. So I don't know whatever my quote air quote skill set is, works better middle to low. I didn't, it never felt right to me. I don't know if I was charging it too hard or too soft, or I just could not get the right feel where I didn't feel like I was going to smack the wall down the whole time. So I just concentrate on the middle entry, let it set, and then gently back into the throttle so it didn't send me around on the apron where I'm sitting right now.
Yep. Well, we saw you make up tons of ground. Like I said, you started last in the field, and it seemed like really the only way to pass was on that inside line. We saw Stump really making that work, and then yourself running just a bit lower than the high line. And how hard was it to pass out there with the cars handling the way they were?
Yeah, I did I pass anyone under green that didn't let me by? I really don't know. I think a couple guys let me by on the start because they were just pacing, and I was pacing, figuring I would hoping to get the drop on them on pit road, either under green or under yellow, and just try to keep the tires under it for the whole race. Because I mean, if you took one adventure off the turn with the right rear, you were done for 2 laps. You had to slow it down that much. So I was just being cautious me, like I always am, and it helped paid off. And then we got that yellow right at halfway, and a couple of those guys up front must have filled the tanks, which they didn't need to do. So that helped with track position, jumped me right up in the top 3, and from there I was just around the Chris's. So I just rode and tried to save it, see what happened.
Well, you come away with a second place finish. That's your second in a row, I believe. Also at USA, the last time we were out here in the VSPEED Challenge. So that's pretty good momentum as we are headed to the Bull Ring next week. What are your thoughts on going out there?
You are, yeah, good. 2 back-to-back good finishes for the new 2019 HostGator Supra. Only run 2 races, got 2 seconds. I can't be too sad about that. Good points day. Gained a couple on Jamie and Josh. See where that shakes out. I've run a race, one super late race recently at the Bull Ring, and it went pretty well. I mean, again, track position is going to be king, so I have to come from somewhere near the middle to the back of the pack again. I have to see if we could outsmart them or just survive.
Yeah, I think survival is going to be key at that little track. It's definitely intense and tight racing over there, but we look forward to seeing how you run.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in the race we ran a few months ago there, so it'll be the same. It's that thing you ready go to put the power down to make your pass, and then you're catching it so you don't loop it around. It can be done, but there's a lot of wait and see. Should be some good action if guys can keep it clean.
Well, we look forward to seeing where you finish out there. And before we let you go to celebrate the second place finish, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, I got to thank our sponsor, which I believe is Elevate Coffee Bar. Did I get that right?
Close, Renegade Coffee Bar, but
Renegade.
you're in the same
That was a different
ballpark.
sponsor for a different series. Well, don't go to those other guys, whoever they were. Renegade. Go eat some of those. HostGator, we got Arts Barbershop. I got to thank Steve for putting this on, and my Empire Racing team teammate Chris. Another good run. Chris Stump, Chris with a K. The other guys couldn't make it tonight, but hope to see the whole crew out here next week in Vegas. Everybody loves that place, so maybe we'll have all of us.
All right, awesome, AJ. Well, great to hear from you once again. Another strong run in that number 18 Supra. We will catch up with you later.
Thanks.
All right, that was second place finisher AJ Hamill. We're going to be bringing up third place finisher Chris Stump. Chris, you got a copy?
Yep, go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Chris, well, it looked like you gave it basically everything you had and ended up just coming up a little bit short behind Chris Samard and AJ Hamill there at the end. Kind of give me a rundown of how your race went here tonight.
Uh, Pretty uneventful for a 100 lapper at Bristol. Kind of had a plan of laying back there, starting at the tail anyways, at the start, and figured we would have some issues right off the bat, and we didn't. So kind of put myself in a bad spot, having to hustle the car a little bit more than what I wanted to at the beginning. But overall, good night. Got pretty free there at the end. Chris did a great job getting his car pointed in the center of the corner and drive off to where my right rear was just done. I could get down on the bottom to his quarter to his door, but I was never in a position to actually clear him.
Did you think you had a good shot at him before that caution with about 30 to go came out? It looked like you guys were basically nose to nose at that point.
Yeah, that probably would have been my best shot there. For whatever reason, once we went back green, I was real tight for the first 5 to 7 laps, and went back to being free again. But he did a good job of taking care of his stuff. Being up front, you can kind of dictate the pace. It's pretty difficult to pass someone. You have to be quite a bit better than them here. And once we got to about 10 to go, I was just hanging on for dear life, and AJ ran me down pretty quick and just told him to go on and see if he had anything for Chris, and AJ did a great job, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked like a handful for pretty much everybody out there, but it was definitely exciting to see you battling with Chris Samard up there for the lead. And this is 2 third-place finishes in a row for you. You have not finished outside of the top 3 in the races that you've been in here at the American Sim Racing Championship, and you're currently up into 5th in points after tonight's race. We're headed to the Bull Ring next week, so what are your thoughts on going out there?
I like the bull ring. I grew up racing a little 3/10 mile bull ring, very similar to what they have out at Vegas, and that's kind of my bread and butter. Really enjoy them. Yeah, just having a really good time. Really good group of drivers we have up here running up front. I didn't have any issues with anyone. Chris gave me plenty of room, didn't squeeze me. Gave me every opportunity in the world to get around him, and he just he did a better job tonight. But yeah, really looking forward to Las Vegas.
Well, we are looking forward as well to seeing if you can continue the streak of top 3s here and possibly come away with another win when we head out there. But as for tonight's 3rd-place finish, anybody you want to give a shout out to that makes this possible?
Yeah, I want to thank Steven and everyone here at ASRC. I want to thank Renegade coffee bars. First I've heard of them, and definitely going to have to check them out and appreciate their support of the series. And all my teammates, I got kind of a group of teams that I race with from different series that kind of merged here. So quite a few guys that I know very well, and just having a lot of fun. And I want to thank you up in the booth. Really enjoy, really enjoy watching the broadcasts after the fact.
Well, awesome, Chris. We really appreciate that. Once again, congratulations on the 3rd-place finish. 2 weeks in a row now, and we hope to hear from you again next week.
Sounds good, Adam. We'll see you then.
All right. That was our 3rd-place finisher, Chris Stump, who has had a great season here so far in the American Sim Racing Championship. He did miss 1 week, but he's still in the top 5 in points. 3 top 3 finishes, like we mentioned in the interview there. So we look to see if he can continue his streak of finishes as we go to the Bull Ring. But as for tonight's race, Chris Samard was the winner, able to lead the most laps as well, and one of the fastest drivers on track. I believe he ran the 2nd or 3rd fastest lap. So definitely had speed, and he had to make his way forward after starting kind of mid-pack here tonight. So definitely deserving of the win here tonight. And we're going to run through our results and head on out of here. Another great race from the American Sim Racing Championship. And we want to give a big shout out to everybody at the American Sim Racing Championship for allowing us to broadcast these races here on VSPEED. But tonight's winner, Chris Samard, started in 6th and takes the victory here at Bristol for the Renegade 100. Second place coming up just a little short after his charge from the back of the pack, the 18 of AJ Hamill, after starting actually tail end on the field. So Chris Stump also started towards the back and made his way up into 3rd, coming up just short in the closing laps, but put a lot of pressure on Samard at the front. A great run once again by Chris. 4th place was Stephen Page. Really quiet run here after just basically running 4th or 5th the entire race. Had his shots in the top 3 for a couple stints in this race, but able to come away with a solid 4th place finish. Jamie Christensen, your points leader, actually comes away with the top 5, and like I said, he always finds his way up there, and that's why he's your points leader here. 4 top 10s on the season and 3 top 5s. So having a great season so far, and he actually extends his point lead over Josh Bonwell, who finishes right behind him there in 6th. And Andy Lambert finishes in 7th. Stephen Parks 8th. Austin Thiel, who started on the lead or in the pole position here tonight, led quite a few laps along with Dustin Momerquet, and they round out top 10 finishers here tonight. Next finisher and our final driver on the field was Justin Huber, who completed 13 laps here tonight and received heavy damage on both sides of that car, and he called it early night and headed out of here after just 13 laps. But that rounds out your field of 11. Some great racing once again, and your winner was Chris Samard here at the Renegade 100 at Bristol Motor Speedway. And quickly before we go, we want to give a shout out to the sponsor, Renegade Coffee Bar, for sponsoring tonight's race. Head over to renegadecoffeebar.com to check out the product. It's an awesome pre-workout replacement bar. So instead of the powders that you make those kind of nasty shakes with and have a ton of sugar, you can try this vegan and gluten-free small bite-sized bar made of fair trade Colombian coffee beans and just a handful of other ingredients. They are delicious. I have some in my cupboard here, and I pull them out whenever I need a boost of energy. They really help you get through your workouts with the 150 milligrams of caffeine and beta-alanine that's in there. It helps you with endurance during your longer workouts. So go head over to renegadecoffeebar.com and use code Renegade20 to save 20% on your purchase. Big shout out to them for sponsoring tonight's event. And once again, we are VSPEED. We were live tonight on Twitch and YouTube. You can find us over at Facebook. Please give us a like over there. If you like tonight's broadcast, please hit the like button below. Consider subscribing or following on the platform that you are watching. We would really appreciate it. Helps us bring more and more great content to you. We will be bringing you more races in the coming weeks. We broadcast the Outlaw Dirt Series Hoosier Tire UMP Modifieds on Tuesday nights, so a little bit different than these super late models, but the dirt racing action from those guys is often extremely entertaining. So tune in on Tuesday nights to catch all that action. And on Wednesday nights, we do bring you the American Sim Racing Championship each and every week that they are running. So we'll be back next week, like I said, at the Bull Ring. So that should be a very exciting race, and we hope you tune into that. And that's going to conclude tonight's broadcast. We thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, without the fans and the viewers, this would not be possible, so really appreciate the support. It's going to conclude it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.